Welcome back. We're going to talk about how to find the angles in a kite, especially those formed by the diagonals. So looking at our kite properties, we've got exactly two pairs of consecutive congruent sides, two short sides, two long sides. We also have one pair of opposite angles are congruent, so these two angles, they kind of bridge the gap between the short and the long pairs of sides. And these diagonals are perpendicular, meaning they form a right angle or several right angles in the middle. So the first thing we're going to look at whenever I'm looking for the angles in a kite, I'm going to make sure to note that that is a right angle in the middle. And the reason for that, just like what we did when we found the diagonal lengths in our last video, we need to notice that we're really working with four right triangles. Now, some of these are going to be congruent triangles, like the top two are congruent, the bottom two are congruent. But what we're really working with here is not a kite so much as it is four right triangles. Now, we'll need the kite properties in a couple of situations, like in the diagonals in the middle, and then knowing that these two pairs of angles are congruent. But really what we're working with is four right triangles. So let me just focus on this right triangle here. So what I can do is I can think about my properties of a right triangle. I know that all three angles should add up to 180. So 2x plus 6 plus 7x plus 3 plus 90 should equal 180, because these three angles added up should get me 180, because that's a triangle. And then we could combine our like terms. 9x plus 99 equals 180, or 9x equals 81. So x is 9. And that's one way to find, in a problem like this, it's one way to find the several angles in these right triangles. So I'm going to erase this. And if I substitute in that value of 9, this is 24. And then you can really start to build your entire set of angles just from that number and from the 46 that we have up at the top. I'm going to get rid of a lot of this other stuff just so that we can focus on the 24 at the bottom and the 46 up at the top. And from that piece of information, you can get almost everything else. So let's take a look at this. Now, again, splitting this into four right triangles. That's the key to thinking about this and making it an easier problem. Now I've got a right triangle here. Got a 90-degree angle, a 24-degree angle, and a missing angle. So using our knowledge that triangles have interior angle sums of 180, I can take 180 minus 90 minus 24 to get 66. And I can do the same thing up here. I've got 46 and 90 and a missing angle. So 90 minus 46 180 minus 90 minus 46 would be 44 degrees over here. And then from there, it's all about knowing your properties of a kite. So we know that these opposite angles are congruent. So I've got 66, 44, 46, 24. And all this stuff is going to come from our triangle congruence theorems, like our hypotenuse leg or our side angle side or our angle side angle. But this is how you're going to find the missing angles in a kite. You just need to know that you're working with not necessarily 4 kites, not until the end. Or sorry, 4 kites. You're not necessarily working with 1 kite. You're working with 4 right triangles. For example, let me give you 2 angles and you can find pretty much everything else from there. So I'll give you a slightly different problem. I'm going to make this angle 50 degrees. I'll make the algebra kind of nice. So that's going to be 50. And I'll make this 35. So why don't you pause the video, come back, and then unpause when you're done and check all your work. Okay, so we're checking our work now. You should have finished this. You've unpaused the video, now we're back. So again, thinking of these as right triangles, not necessarily a kite yet. So 50, this is 90. We know that's 90. It's one of our kite properties. So 50 and 40, and 35 and 55. And then from there, now we've gone as far as we can. Now you have to go back to the kite properties, knowing those 2 congruent angles. So now you have to go back to your kite properties. But now you know that this is 50, this is 55, this is 35, this is 40, and then all of these middle angles must be 90. And you can check your work. So let's draw a kite down here just to check our work, just to be sure. It's always good to be safe. So this would be 105, this would be 105, this would be 70, and this would be 80. And we know that in a quadrilateral, our angle should add up to 360. So 105 plus 105 plus 70 plus 80, that's 10, 15, 16, 2, and 3. Beautiful. So it does work out. Again, just splitting this up into 4 right triangles, that's going to be the key to understanding how these angles are going to work. You only need to bring in those kite properties once you've found the angle measures in those 2 triangles. So the one triangle up at the top, the one triangle down at the bottom that we started with. So once you've found say, this triangle and this triangle, that's when you can start using your kite properties to find the other 2. But you want to start off with just using your right triangle properties, and that will make life a little bit easier for you just to get started. Please send me whatever questions you have, or join office hours, or otherwise get a hold of me, and I will see you guys in class.